right. Welcome to today's hot sheet. I'm discussing Realtor.com's August housing report and two labor reports about job openings and private payroll. Today is Thursday, September 5th. I'm Tom Toole, and the BAM private jet did not arrive on time. So excuse my tardiness here. We'll have to talk to Eric about that to shoot the lock off his wallet. I'm sure Byron keeps that nice and tight. So this is the only live daily news show on the internet in the real estate industry, and it's brought to you exclusively by BAM. The hot sheet covers what you need to know about the real estate market and the industry in a 24-hour period. So the August housing market trends from Realtor.com. There is some good news in here for real estate agents and for consumers. And as an agent, as an advocate for people that are out in the marketplace, this is the stuff you need to be telling people, because the reality is a lot of consumers, when they decide to pull out of the market or maybe take a break, all of a sudden things change and you can be the bearer of good news. So the August housing report, it revealed that for sale inventory in the U.S. reached its highest level since May of 2020 with a 35.8% increase in active listings year over year, with the 10th consecutive month of growth. And you want to use your local data here. So you want to check out this report. It's on Realtor.com. Again, it's their August housing report. This kind of stat is something that you've got to be telling to people, whether they're potential buyers or potential sellers, or someone just curious about the market, because one of the biggest complaints has been the lack of inventory in the real estate space and for consumers. Now, again, this is for sale inventory. New listings are down 0.9% year over year, a reversal from the 8.4% increase in July, breaking the 9-month streak of increasing listing activity. That's a normal trend in the month of August. I want to be very clear about this with everybody. This is usually what happens during vacation season. Everyone went back to school. That's a normal thing because we're in a traditional seasonal market, not that hustle, run, go pace of 2020 up to 2023. Median listing price is down 1.3% year over year to $429,990. If you ask me, I think the median price is a BS stat. You want to be looking at your local market's average number. They're putting the charts up right now. Thank you, Bobby, for doing that. And when you look at median pricing, right, when you see where these trends are, and it just shows you that price growth is very strong. I mean, certainly they kind of dip seasonally here. If you look at the chart there, this is normally what happens when you're charting like month by month versus doing something that's, looking at the year over year trends. So that's a really important thing to understand. And I would really be looking for the average in your marketplace when you're talking to consumers. The median price per square foot is up 2.3% year over year, indicating an increase in the inventory of smaller, more affordable homes. And that's what moves the market, right? The high end, the premium market, that typically has a larger absorption rate. It's a slower sales period. It takes longer. But when you see the demand for smaller, more affordable homes and inventory is up and seeing the 2.3% year over year increase in the median price per square foot, that's a great sign. Median days on market, homes spent on average 53 days on market, the slowest August in 5 years. Well, guess what happened 5 years ago? It was before the pandemic. So that's a normal August. It's exactly what I'm saying. We're in a seasonal market here. This is a great chart to put up there to tell people this. And it's going to be something that can incentivize folks that don't want to deal with competition at these high levels. So there's a lot of good information here that you can take from these charts. And if you want to really have strong conversations with buyers, what you can do is you can actually download these charts, and they're all available on the BAM platform here on BAMX. So great place to get the charts and the slides and the information that we review every day on the hot sheet, or especially when I'm on and the jet doesn't show up. You want to sign up for BAMX, you can do that. That's where you get access to all the hot sheet daily downloads, the courses, objection handling by me. Eric Simon calls me the GOAT of objection handling, right? I'm not the best. I just know how to do it well, and I do it consistently. Bi-weekly masterminds and the BAMX community. Use the code TOOLE, Toole. Don't forget the E, for 10% off your subscription at the link in the description. So all these charts, you can download them, you put them on your phone, and then when you're talking to people, it's third-party validation out in the field. So this information is super, super critical for you to be able to be the knowledge broker in the space. And lastly, what we have is the share of active listings with price reductions. I'd be using price adjustments if you're talking to consumers and you're talking to sellers. Don't say reduction. Adjustments, 19.2%. It's up 3 percentage points from last August. What that tells us is not that prices are going down. It's that we're seeing inventory rise. There's more options for people. And this is a great chart here. I'm glad Bobby's putting this up. So you look at that chart there. That's going to get some people excited. And that's where knowing your median days on market, where, in our marketplace, it's going to be lower than the national average in the greater Philadelphia area. But what you can do is you tell people, hey, here's the median. This is the flag to look for in case you want to try to negotiate the price with somebody. So this trend here of seeing more price adjustments, you're talking to a buyer. Let's craft an OFQ and some scripting here. Hey, it's Tom here with RE/MAX Main Line. I'm following up with you as promised. I'm not sure if you saw, we've seen the percentage of homes with price adjustments. They've increased, meaning that sellers are now becoming more negotiable. We've seen that the median sale price, and then use the stats here, right? Median sale prices nationally are down 1.3% year over year. How would a little softer pricing and a more negotiable seller impact your decisions as a buyer over the next 6, 12, 18 months? That is the kind of script that's going to get a reaction here. So really great stuff. The inventory growth, and I want to talk about this. I will be at Bandmania, Jason Flory, so looking forward to seeing you as well. Inventory growth has continued to rise for the 10th consecutive month. However, the rate of growth decelerated slightly. Again, this is a seasonal market that we're coming out of, and especially for my friends up in the Northeast, we know that September, October, November, it's when you can make some hay in the market before you see another seasonal dip historically in the month of December. This is all normal. This is what happened before the pandemic. It feels like a 2019 market. So a lot of great data here in this Realtor.com report. The top 10 metros for inventory growth, this was pretty fascinating. These are all 50% or more growth in housing markets. And no surprise that some of the hottest markets that are out there, they see the ups, they see the downs. You got Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater up 90.1%, bananas number. San Diego, Chula Vista, and Carlsbad up 80.4% in inventory growth. Orlando is up 76.9%. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, 72.2%. Seattle, Tacoma, Bellevue, 69.3%. Jacksonville, Florida, 68.3%. Denver, 66.8%. Charlotte, 62.4%. Atlanta, 58%. And Dallas, 50.6%. So we're seeing the places that had a lot of growth during the pandemic. They've also seen the most inventory come to the market. So you want to look at this in your local market. You've got to know these numbers to talk to potential buyers and potential sellers when guiding them in a decision. And again, if you look at the change in market dynamics, I talked a little bit about 2019 versus 2024. Median listing price right now is up 36.2%. Gives you an idea where, average price growth is coming in. Median price per square foot up 51%. Days on market. Homes are spending more time on the market across all regions. The South, 9 days longer. The Midwest, 3 days longer. The West and the Northwest, 2 days longer than last year. So it's not a ton longer. It shows you that demand is still there. Demand is just slowing a little bit. And that's what I would be telling sellers that are thinking about holding off in the market, because when you see these lead indicators, it's usually a sign of things to come. So there's a ton of great information here, and the greatest price increases in the metro areas. This one's actually pretty fascinating because it demonstrates exactly what I talked about. These older, more established metro areas have seen greater price increases, and they haven't seen as much inventory go up. Milwaukee is at number one, 13.2%. My city, the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, 9.1% price increase compared to this time last year. And Cleveland, 8%. Price reductions, they're more common as active listings increase. We've seen in the West, 3.5 percentage points increase in the percentage of homes with price adjustments. The Northeast is only at 2%. It's really demonstrating what I'm talking about here. The South has 2.8 percentage points, and the Midwest has seen an increase of 3.3 percentage points. So we're seeing these trends happen all throughout the country. And what we know here is that you've got to know the local stats. So as we wrap up this report, the market outlook. Obviously, we know our friends at the Federal Reserve are meeting in just about 2 weeks, and that's that they've been very clear. Jerome Powell came out and said we did a Knowledge Brokers podcast that day talking about his comments that the time has come to adjust policy, and we've seen mortgage rates continue to fall, and falling mortgage rates are likely. Thanks, Alex, for the emoji there. Falling mortgage rates are likely to bring out additional home shoppers this fall, potentially leading to a busier season than usual, although the activity is not expected to overwhelm the typical seasonal slowdown. So what does that mean? It means as an agent, we're going to get a little tactical here. I don't know if Byron does this as much as I like to. As an agent, when you have high volume conversations and you're spreading the word about the market dynamics, what that enables you to do is find the folks that actually have intent to move, because motivation matters more than ever. You know, there's this whole, obviously these industry changes we're dealing with. Some people are losing their mind about this, these NAR settlement changes. I posted on Instagram, I think it was a couple weeks ago, collab with BAM, the 3-point plan to win in this climate. One, keep talking to people and keep setting appointments. And you may have to increase your output to be able to increase or maintain the sales results that you want to see. So what I'd be doing is having high volume conversations, crafting, emails, texts, all this stuff's available on the BAMX and BAM in a Box platform. So again, use that discount code Toole if you're interested for 10% off. Our team uses this stuff all the time. And what that does is it warms up the phone call. You're delivering value. You're not that lazy agent that's saying, hey, I'm following up like I said I would to see if you're ready to buy a home or sell a home. That's not what knowledge brokers do. They use those OFQs like I demonstrated, where you talk about, hey, it's Tom here with RE/MAX. I'm following up as promised. That's your opener. Not sure if you saw, and then insert the fact, right? Whatever market stat you want to use. And I would encourage you to go local here, or you can talk about the national numbers, whatever you prefer. Or maybe send a chart out beforehand and use a well-crafted email like our friends at BAM in a Box are doing on a weekly basis. And what that's going to do, it's going to allow you to find those people that do have intent to sell and buy over the next 3-4 months here as we head into the fall. So there's a lot of opportunity there with falling mortgage rates. And, the market slowdown is expected to continue in the fall with inventory levels increasing and price cuts becoming more prevalent. That means you've got to have those difficult conversations with your sellers and buyers and be very clear and direct with them, because when you're direct and you're presenting data to back up what you're saying, it's going to help everybody win. So that's what's happening with topic number 1 in terms of the realtor.com August housing report. Great stuff there from realtor.com. And what I wanted to go over next is the ADP employment report. So what this talks about is the private sector employment growth. And this slowed with 99,000 jobs added and an annual pay up 4.8% year over year. We're going to get into all the highlights here. And the report highlights a couple things. I see stabilizing wage growth, a cooling labor market. We know the Fed totally flubbed that one. They were off by 818,000 jobs based on real-time payroll data. Imagine that. They're using real-time data. That's incredible. And that's from over 25 million U.S. employees. So when you look at the report here, there's 3 things you want to look at when it comes to employment changes. The private sector employment growth, and like I said, they added 99,000 jobs in August. The job market trend, creation slowed for the 5th consecutive month. Thank you, Bobby, for putting these up here. And what we're seeing this slowdown now, it's happened. It's not just a one-off anymore. It's not like a slow month. It's happened over time, which is why you're probably seeing the Fed talk about its time has come to adjust policy. And then the labor market cooling, and that's continued to happen. The labor market's continuing to experience this cooling trend. And when you look at a couple things like wage data, right? So wage growth, it's really stabilizing now. We're not seeing these sharp increases or decreases in wage growth like what we saw during the pandemic. It's slow and steady. And when you see slow and steady increases and decreases, that's the sign of a stabilizing market. So when you jump into this report here and you look at this more, what this tells me is that everything that we've been talking about on the hot sheet or knowledge brokers or what the Fed's been talking about or what some of the economists have been talking about. Logan Motoshami came out and said the Fed overplayed their hand with rate cuts, and now they're backpedaling. They didn't come out and say they were wrong. What they did do is they came out and said the time has come to adjust policy. We're going to see that. If you look at what the CME group does, they put kind of some futures on the rate predictions at the next meeting. So today, real time, we're seeing a 55% likelihood there's a 25 basis point decrease at the September meeting that's happening in 13 days and change. And there's a 45% chance, this is the highest I've seen so far, that there's going to be a 50 basis point decrease. And this is the highest number we've seen over the past 30 days. So all really good stuff. Thank you, Bobby, for putting it up there. So if you're betting, right, NFL season opens today, this would mean there's basically, you're close to, 50 odds here on 25 versus 50 basis points, which will contribute to a lot of the things like falling mortgage rates that we're talked about. So some of the insights here that we're seeing, wages they're up 4.8%. We're seeing this kind of stuff happen here. What I'm clear on is we want to see more of this. We want to see just stable growth, not incredible growth, not anything decelerating. The chief economist for ADP, Nella Richardson, she said the job market's downward drift brought us slower than normal hiring after 2 years of outsized growth. That's a great quote because growth was outsized. The next indicator to watch is going to be wage growth, which is stabilizing after a dramatic post-pandemic slowdown. So we did add a lot of jobs. And one of the Fed's big concerns was getting the labor market under control. So, seeing that is a good thing. I think it's good for everybody because that kind of growth is not sustainable when it's outsized. So that's a great quote by Nella Richardson there. And I think it really says a lot. When you look at some of the jobs that were added and not added. So the change by industry when it came to goods, we saw natural resources and mining. They added 8,000 jobs. Construction added 27,000 jobs. That's good news for the housing market. Hopefully we'll see, more homes come to the market with builders. Manufacturing lost 8,000. When you look at the services, trade, transportation, and utilities, and financial activities and education, they added the most out of all of them. Education and health services was 29,000. Financial activities, 18,000 jobs. Trade, 14,000 jobs. Then we had information and professional and business services were both down. Information was down 4,000. Professional and business services were down 16,000. Leisure and hospitality up 11,000, and other services were up 20,000. So, this jobs report is kind of more of the same when I see it here. A lot of what the real time data we've been looking at. Obviously, the Fed uses that kind of made up number, and then they have to revise it. So this is the kind of data that's going to help get these rates to come down a little bit lower. So, and then just to give you some perspective here, the pay insights are derived from a cohort of 10 million employees over a 12-month period. So this is not some small sample size here. The anonymous payroll data is over 25 million U.S. employees, and the ADP payroll employment database, it provides literally real-time measures. So that's what you want. You want real-time data. So that's why I think this report's very helpful. And what that's going to lead us to is what's going to happen at the Fed meeting coming up. And for sure, this data is going to be factored in. So as we wrap the show here, Bobby, I don't know if you ever do any Q&A, if that's part of this or not. As we wrap the show here, we want to talk about where the 10-year yield is. So the 10-year yield, real time, Bobby, if we can put this up, that would be tremendous. As we're seeing right now, as we close out the show at 9:53, it's at 3.727. That's down 0.04 of a point. And where we see the 30-year fixed coming in. So there it is. That's where we are today. And this obviously affects mortgage rates, right? So today we're seeing the 30-year fixed. Yesterday it was coming in at 6.38%, according to Mortgage News Daily. That's a national number. And what I want to stress to everyone here is make sure you're getting local quotes so people can understand what's happening locally in their market. And also for your sellers and buyers out there, they've got to get their credit, debt to income ratio, income all looked at. So again, if you liked what you heard today, you wanted some information about this, you can always go right to the BAMX, right? All this information is posted there every single day, right? And for access to the charts and slides, just sign up for BAMX. That's where you get everything we're talking about, the daily downloads, the charts, the courses, the biweekly masterminds, and the BAMX community, which is what makes any organization great, is the people. Use the code Toole with an E, Toole, for 10% off your subscription at the link in the description. Thanks for having me on the hot sheet. Today's September 5th.